The best part about our TI-84 is that it has a ton of built-in apps. We saw that with recursion, and now we can actually do some stuff with our financial situations. And so, since we're dealing with loans and investments, we have this fancy app on our calculator. So let's go to apps. We got this little financial calculator. So click on finance, enter, and right away in TVM solver. That's where it's going to solve all of our stuff. So this is what everything means in our financial calculator. The N, if we look over here, it stands for the number of payments. So that you just have to be careful. Are you paying yearly? Are you paying monthly? Are you paying quarterly? So that'll affect it. Okay. I stands for annual interest rate. So be careful with that. It says annual, so always put your annual. If it says compounded monthly, it doesn't matter. Just put whatever the interest rate is annually. So if it's 6.8%, write it as 6.8. Do not change it to a decimal here. Your PV is your starting value, so your initial amount. PMT is your payment amount. So if it's a loan or a credit card and you're making a payment, just be careful. Let's say you pay $100 a year. If it's not taking away from your account, like I'm paying $100 on my account to take it away from the account, make sure that you do negative, right? If you're depositing money, deposit money, then do a positive. But if you're making a payment on something, it's always got to be negative. FB is your final value, and PY and CY. You got P stands for payments per year, and C stands for calculations on your interest per year. Okay, so that's where your compounded comes into play. Compounded goes here, so if it's monthly, this would be 12. If you're making a payment each month, this would be 12. And then usually we go with end instead of begin, but it just stands for the payment. Is it made at the end or the beginning of each month? And I guess sometimes if you deposit, you might do it at the beginning, but we'll use the end for the most part. All right, let's look at an example so this makes sense. It says CC purchased $2,000 worth of merchandise with her credit card this past month. Ooh, dangerous. Then she was unexpectedly laid off from her job. She decided to make no more purchases with the card and to make only the minimum payment of $40 each month. Her annual interest rate is 18% and it's compounded monthly. Find the balance on the credit card over the next 6 months. Okay, well the first thing is, it's a good idea if you want the next 6 months to write your recursive formula. So I'm going to go u sub 0 equals $2,000. And then my recursive, u sub n equals, well, remember 1 plus the rate as a decimal, so 0.18, since it was 18%, and then it's compounded what? Monthly, so 12 monthly, 12 times a year. Then our previous term, u sub n minus 1, and what is our payment? $40, and we're paying it off, so we're subtracting, right? Because that's dropping our bill. And I'm just going to write the last step just so we get used to that. And it's greater than or equal to 1. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug this into our calculator. And luckily, I already got it all typed in for us. So y equals, got it all. Started at 0, right? No time has gone by. Got everything written in. We got our initial amount of 2,000. Okay, so let's go. Table, I should start it at 0, and then I can see the first 6 years after that. So initial amount, first 6 years. Oh, see, I'm already screwed up. It's not your first 6 years, right? Remember, it's monthly, so these stand for months. See, so it's easy to, you always, I don't know, for some reason your mind wants you to think years all the time just because that's what you're so used to, but just be careful. So these stand for months. 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months, 6 months. There we go. So you can just write all those numbers down. For B, when will CC pay off the total balance on her credit card? Okay, well, I could keep scrolling down until I get to 0 on my u sub n column, but that's going to take forever. And I can keep table setting, but that's going to take forever. So this is where your financial calculator comes into play. So let's take a look. So N, number of payments. Well, that's what we're trying to find, how long it's going to take. How many payments? Remember, these are monthly payments. So how many monthly payments will it take? Interest rate per year, annual interest rate. Well, that gave it to us 18. And remember, we don't type it in as a decimal, we just leave it as 18. PV, initial amount. Well, what was our initial amount? $2,000. So we go over 2,000. Payments. What is our payment amount? We're paying $40 a month. So do I type in 40? I'll be careful. Remember, negative 40, right? Because it's being subtracted from our bill. Final amount, well, we're trying to get it when it's totally paid off. So we want our bill to be 0. And then payments per year. Well, we're making a payment each month. Oh, just automatically edit in my calculations. That works because that's what it is. It's compounded monthly. So here's the tricky part. I just don't hit enter and it goes. What I have to do is go up to the spot I want to solve for. So I want to solve for my answer. I got to get this highlighted. Then if you look at your calculator, you should have a solve down by your enter button here. And mine's green, so I need to go to my green alpha button and click that, and then hit enter to solve. So there we go, it solved it. It took a little over 93 months to finish it off. So I would say, well, it's going to take 94 months, right? So 94 months to pay it off. Because 93 I'd be a little short. Then it says, what is the total amount paid for $2,000 worth of the merchandise? Well, let's think about this. When you originally charged that $2,000, you didn't pay any money yet. But now you're making a $40 payment each month. And that happened for 94 months, right? So a lot of people think, well, let's just take 94 months times 40 bucks. And I would get what? Which is $3,760. But guess what? That last month, remember you had 93 payments of $40, right? But then that last month wasn't quite 40 bucks. You didn't have 40 bucks left on your bill. Because if you look at the number of payments you made, you made 93.11 payments. So that last month wasn't a full payment of $40. So how do I find that exact amount that you paid for that merchandise? Well, you could take this number, your number of payments, times 40. That would be the easiest. And don't round this decimal. Don't take 93.11. That's not going to be perfect. So what we want to do is, we want to go to our home screen, and we want to use that capital N. Whoops. And we want to use that capital N. So to find it, don't just use this green capital N, because that's not going to work. We need our financial N. So we need to go back to our apps and into our finance. And then instead of going into our financial calculator, our solver, let's go look at the variables that are in there. So let's scroll over right. So now I'm in my variables, and there it is. There's that N, that number of payments. So we can grab that and take it times 40. So it's $40 each payment. There we go. So really I paid $3,724.44. So my 93 payments of 40, that came out to like $30,720. So really my last payment was about $4.44. But it was just asking for the total paid, so that was right here. So we want to be exact with that. So depending on your situation, that financial calculator can be helpful. Otherwise, using your recursion on your calculator could be helpful.